Hello and welcome to the Obsession Engineering kitchen. That's right, tonight I'm not in the workshop, I'm in the kitchen because I really like cake. Cake's just great. I have a sweet tooth. Just cakes, flapjacks, biscuits, that sort of stuff. Oh, love it. So, tonight I'm going to show you what is really the simplest dish I do and is really my pièce de résistance. I'm going to do flapjack. When I go racing, this is an excellent little food source. It's an excellent snack because you've got your oats for your slow release carbs, you've got your sugars and your golden syrups for sort of faster release energy. Real good snack for when we're racing. And it's simple to make. So today I'm going to do a raisin flapjack, which is sort of fairly basic, and I'm also going to do a slightly fancier white chocolate and mango version. Now I'm going to end up with more flapjack than I need to eat, which isn't normally a problem, but I might end up leaving a bit on the next door neighbour's doorstep. Keep these people happy. So I shall show you how I make this really simple dish. A bit like building engines, what you need to begin with is the right tools and the right ingredients, because there's no point putting an engine together with only a hammer. It's just not going to work very well. So we'll start with the tools. What we need tonight is saucepan, kitchen scales, chopping board, mixing bowl that I'm just going to be measuring oats in, and baking trays. That's pretty simple. I'm also going to use a bit of baking paper to line the trays because it's easier. Oh yeah, and you'll probably be needing an oven. That's kind of useful. Just as you need the right parts to put an engine together, you also need the right parts to put your food together. So we have got butter, because it's better than margarine. Golden syrup, it doesn't matter if it's the squeezy stuff or the stuff in a bowl, in a jar even. Sugar, there is two different types of sugar and we will get to that later. Oats, I don't use anything fancy, it is just the cheapest stuff I can get hold of. And then we have white chocolate and mango for the white chocolate and mango version, and sultanas, raisins, whatever for the other version. So now we shall throw it all together and see what we come out with. Before you start dishing out ingredients, you'll need to preheat an oven. So 150 degrees, and press go. And off it goes. So the next thing to do is put our saucepan on a scale and zero it. And we will start with 90 grams of butter. So that's near enough 90 grams of butter. The next thing I want is 75 grams of golden syrup. So if I re-zero that, press the wrong button. And then we shall go over here. I've never tried to do baking one-handed before. This could turn out disastrously. I used to use the stuff straight out the tin, and I think it might give you a little bit more consistency. I think this stuff's a little bit thinner, so it pours easier. So we're trying to get 75 grams. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, it's close enough. So that's 75 grams of that, and then the next thing is 50 grams of sugar. So that's near as we like, 50 grams of sugar. So for this one, this is going to be the white chocolate and mango version. I'm using white sugar. And you remember I also had some darker sugar, which if I'm doing something like raisin or something with darker chocolate in, I use darker sugar for a slightly richer flavour. But because we want the sort of lightness of white sugar, white chocolate and mango, I'm using white sugar. So you can slightly alter the taste depending on what sugar you use. At this point, before I add the sort of the fun flavour bit, that's actually all you really need. That and 200 grams of oat is actually all you really need for flapjack. If you want a basic flapjack, butter, sugar, golden syrup, oat. That's it. Easy. But at this point I'm going to add some white sugar, probably about 65 grams of it, and a little packet of mango, chopped up finely. As you can see, I've put 60 something grams of sugar in. You can put as much or as little as you want in it. And then I'm just going to pour in my chopped up mango. And the next thing to do is put that on the hob and make it melty. It doesn't want to be boiling hot, it just wants to be a low temperature, just enough to melt the sugar and the butter. That's it on the hob. It's a medium-ish heat to begin with, and I'll turn it down a little bit lower when everything starts to go a little bit soggy. It doesn't want to be boiling hot and sticky like caramel, it just wants to go all soft and gooey. The only thing that should actually still be solid at the end of it is the bits of mango. Everything else should be melty. While the saucepan stuff is melting, we can get the bowl, and we want 200 grams of porridge oats. Any oats will do really, I don't see the difference. Come on, 200, I can count. Trust me, this is easy with two hands. Nearly there we go. Give or take a few grams, it'll be fine. Oh, all over the worktop, never mind. Right, back to the melty stuff. It's beginning to melt around the edges. We'll be back in a minute when it's all melted. It's only taken a couple of minutes of stirring and heating for that all to melt into a lovely pile of gooey goodness. In fact, if I mind my fingers, oh, look at that. So now the next thing is to very delicately pour all the oats in. When I say delicately, just get them in there. Yes, look at that. And then I've got to just sort of fold all that into each other. Just sort of mix it all up so all the oats are coated, and it turns out I really can't do that one-handed. So bear with me. That's all the oats and the mixture all sort of mushed together, so everything's nice and coated. So all I'm going to do now is put that into there. Easies. That's the mixture transferred into my tin. These are 20 centimetre tins, so what's that, 8 inches, something like that. If you have a smaller tin and it just sits thicker, then it'll just take either a little bit longer to bake, or it'll just be sort of soggier in the middle. Or if you've got a bigger tray and you put it thinner, it'll just cook quicker or be crispier. Choices are yours. You can just go along with it. Make it up as you go along. Go crazy, why don't you? On to the second batch. Because I don't want to do any more washing up, I'm using the same saucepan. I've just let it cool down enough so it doesn't burn anything. Not that it's majorly hot anyway. So I've got the same basic ingredients. I've got 90 grams of butter, 75 grams of golden syrup, 50 grams of sugar, but this time I'm on dark brown muscovado sugar. And the only difference this time is, other than the sugar being different, is I'm putting sultanas, raisins, currant, whatever. I've got just over 80 grams of those. So same thing again, I shall put that on the hob, melt it and add 200 grams of oats. There we have it again, a lovely melted gooey mess. So we'll pour the oats in. And two-handedly I shall mix all that together again. So there we have 2 batches of flapjack ready to go in the oven. That one's raisin, that one is white chocolate and mango. Now instead of mango, any of those little packets of fruit, pineapple, apricot, any of that work really well. You can add darker chocolate to the raisin one, it works really well. One of the particular favourites is in fact Terry's chocolate orange on its own. Just gives it a real nice, well, Terry's chocolate orange flavour. That always goes down well. If I'm doing that, I tend to use quite a lot, and I'll use maybe 100 grams of chocolate just to give it a nice strong flavour. Also, if you're watching this in America, at this point you might be quite confused, because this is not what you think of flapjack. Last year when we were doing Pikes Peak with Eric, there was a bit of confusion when I was talking about flapjack. This is flapjack. You call flapjack the same thing as you call pancake. You are wrong. This is flapjack, pancake's a pancake. Simple. As you can see, I've just put them in the oven. 25 minutes is all you need, and go! So now you can disappear off and watch somebody else's YouTube channel, or you can watch the Pikes Peak Adventures, or me fiddling with motorbikes. It's all highly recommended. Ready, steady, 2, 1. Woohoo! Mmm. That's just going to taste awesome! It doesn't necessarily really look cooked. I mean, the raisin one doesn't really look any different to when it went in. The white chocolate one's just got a few little bits around the edges that are sort of browned a little bit. But what I've found is, if it looks like it's cooked, if it's brown all over, it's probably gone a bit crispy and a bit biscuity, which is fine if that's what you want, but I don't. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cover it over the top with tin foil and let it cool overnight. I've left my batch to cool down overnight. So we open them up and they look pretty much the same as before. What you'll notice, it's sort of pretty much solid to the touch. If it's really, really soft, when you try and take it out of the packet, it'll all just sort of flop around and fall apart. So next bit is to chop it all up into pieces. I like to cut mine into fairly decent sized chunks because what's the point in having less cake? The only thing left to do now is eat some! Yay! I'm going to start with a piece of the white chocolate and mango one. Oh, blooming heck, that's good. So now, all you need to do back home is get baking. Thanks for watching. If you can like and subscribe, that's great, and it'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the Obsession Engineering kitchen and workshop. Thank you.